and President William Ruto. Speaking in Nyandarua, Gachagua urged the Central Region residents to take note of the leaders who had maintained their loyalty to the region and vote for them in 2027 and do the vice versa by unseating those he termed as traitors of the mountain. In his impassioned address, the former deputy president lauded members of the County Assembly of Nyandarua for reportedly refusing to be bribed to snitch to the government as their members of parliament had. He at the same time called on them to ensure that they maintain loyalty, saying that in President William Ruto's government, there were drug barons.
Navika general ujue tuko na shida kama jamii. Mimi nilipigana na dawa za kulevya na pombe. Tukamaliza pombe hapa Nyandarua. Vijana wetu wakawacha kulala kwa mitaro. Wakarudi nyumbani, wakaoga, wakakuwa wasafi. Wamama wetu wakaanza kupata watoto. Pombe ilikuwa imekwisha, haikuwa imeisha. Imerudi haijarudi. Imerudi haijarudi. Na mimi nilijua serikali haikuwa na haja ya kumaliza pombe na dawa za kulevya. Kwa sababu saa ile walinifukuza, rais alienda akatafuta maminister wawili ambaye wanauzaga madawa ya kulevya akaweka kwa cabinet. Sasa Kenya ndio cabinet pekee katika dunia iko drug barons wanakaa pale katika baraza la mawaziri. Kwa hivyo that fight cannot be won because we have drug barons who are sitting in the cabinet. Kwa hivyo tutakuwa na hiyo shida kubwa, lakini Mungu atatusaidia, tutatatua. Na Reverend Fathers, musalimie Bishop, please continue speaking for the people of Kenya, because the church is the only remaining voice to speak for the people of Kenya. Parliament has been compromised, opposition has been compromised. Wale viongozi wamebaki ni hawa wachache niko na hawa akina Medhu, akina Wanjiku Muhea, hawa MCAs wanatetea wananchi.
So that's the kind of conversation that was going on yesterday. Elsewhere, Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi and his Kimilili counterpart Didmas Baraza blasted former President Uhuru Kenyatta over his recent advice to the youth. Kenyatta last week asked the young people in Africa to come out and fight for change. But according to the two Kenya Kwanza legislators, the former president's utterances amounted to incitement against the government.
It is under your watch ya kwamba kulikuwa na betting companies zikapewa licenses betting company 200. Siku hizi vijana wakiamka asubuhi ni hapa chini, watu wamejinyonga, watu wanajiua. Anapata shilingi 200 anaweka kandege, anapata shilingi 500 anaweka kandege, anauza pikipiki anaweka kandege, anauza shamba anaweka kandege. Nasikia kuna kandege kanafanya kakiendana na kila kitu yako. It is your problem. Sasa tunajaribu kumaliza hiyo depression ambayo iliingia kwa vijana under your watch, under your leadership. Wacha ku-criticize wakati wewe mwenyewe ndio umekosa.
Unaongea sasa maneno mingi. Unajifanya baba sasa hivi. Na wewe unajua wewe sio baba wa nchi. Wewe ni mtu ulichukua loan yenye Kenya italipa miaka 40.
Ukiwa retired as an MP, as a president, as an MCA, toa mdomo kwa wale ambao wako. Kwa sababu wewe umekuwa pale, you understand the pressure of that job. It is very ironic, it is very absurd, very uncouth.
Tukwambia Uhuru Kenyatta, siko nataka kuongea kuhusu wewe tena kwa sababu nilikwambia kutosha wakati ile. Lakini kwa sababu wewe ni mtukutu na wewe ni mtu unajifanya, kwa sababu uheshimu wa Kenya wengine, uko na amovas, unafikiria hii nchi inafaa tu bali kwa ufalme kama wewe na Moi na wengine. Nataka nikwambie Uhuru Kenyatta, funga mdomo, enda kanisani, enda gym kwanza, kwa sababu unaelekea bando baya. Wachana na hii nchi William Ruto aendeshe.
Elsewhere, members of parliament allied to the former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua said no matter what President Ruto's team does, he will end up being a one-time president.
hii maneno ya silencing the voice of those who are speaking. Rigathi Gachagua alinyamazishwa kwa sababu ya kuogea. Kweli ama si kweli? Juzi unaona wanatembea kunyamazisha na tembea kwa sababu he is speaking there. Yesterday Interior Cabinet Secretary huyu mwenye ameingia juzi, mwenye alikuwa ametolewa na Gen Z, amesimama hapo tena kwa TV kwenda kutusi former president of this republic because they do not want any other voice other than the ones that is singing praise and worship for them. What we are saying? Hatutaiba. Na William Ruto, serikali yako, it is time and you must agree with the other voices that says contrary to what you believe in. 2027, it is our duty to make sure that your government will make it.
Former President Uhuru Kenyatta last week called on the youth to lead the change that is coming into the region. He was speaking while in Uganda.
You, our young people, will have to play your part in reshaping the destinies of our countries of birth, and you will help us realize that this is the moment for each and every one of you to step onto the stage. Your time has come.
Meanwhile, leaders allied to President William Ruto have defended his trip to China, saying those opposed to it were confused, as what the president was seeking was investors who are going to transform the country's economy. The leaders condemned those who've been speaking against this trip.
Rais hajaenda Uchina kukopa, ameenda kutafuta wawekezaji. Hata hiyo barabara mnasikia ya Rironi, Mau Summit, sio Rironi ikomee Mau Summit, itajengwa as an investment, itoke Rironi, Mau Summit mpaka kwa boda ya Malaba, ili Kenya yote ifunguke. Vile Thika Road ilijengwa na Mheshimiwa Mwai Kibaki, ikafungua sehemu ya Thika, ikafungua Murang'a, ikafungua Nyeri. Pia Rais William Ruto ajenge barabara kutoka Rironi ifike mpaka Malaba, ili ifungue sehemu hii, uchumi wenyu uweze kupanuka kama Kenya ingine. Hata ikifika wakati wa Christmas, last year tuliona watu wanalala kwa barabara. Kwa muda wa miaka miwili hiyo barabara itajengwa, ikamilike, hakutakuwa na mambo ya watu kulala tena kwa barabara. Mheshimiwa Rais alielekea kule China kutafuta uwekezaji. Mwaka moja ambayo imepita, tuliona TV wakisema, unajua maneno imekuwa mbaya ngumu, mpaka investors wanatoka. Mbona investor wazungu wanaenda, wa China wanaenda? Haya, wakaongea mwezi mzima. Last week Mheshimiwa Rais amesign deals na investors wanakuja hapa kuinvest pesa mingi. Wengine 19 billion, wengine 3 billion, wengine 20 billion wanakuja kuinvest. Tena jana niliona kwa TV wakisema, Mheshimiwa Rais ameenda China, mbona anataka wa China wakuje kuinvest, si atafute wa Kenya wa invest. Munataka nini? Hii side unasema investors wameenda. Investors wakiletwa unasema mbona ni wa China, mbona ni wazungu. Unataka nini? Unataka nini?
Now that's what the politicians are saying, and you know they're lying to us, most of them. They're trying to win. Let me say this. It's like spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare is simply, if you can define it, it's a war of information. It's a battle of information. God gives you the truth about every situation and every circumstance. Satan, on this other end, is the God of misinformation. So he will come and try and tell you oh, this information, God told you this information. That information is not true. This is what is true. So spiritual warfare is a battle about information. So the $1 million question is this: who are you believing? You woke up today in the morning with a lot of fear in your mind. You're worried about tomorrow. You're worried you're not going to make it. You're worried you have a disease that is eating on you. You've been feeling some pain someplace, and all of a sudden pictures have been brought into your mind, and you're seeing all the negatives in the world. Who told you? You remember what God asked Adam in the Garden of Eden after Adam told God that we heard your voice walking in the garden, and we were afraid because we are naked. The first question God asked Adam was, who told you? Who is your source of information? So take heed how and what you hear. Now, did you know that the country is currently experiencing a cholera outbreak? So if you're one of those guys who loves going kukula mutura, Alice is a mutura geek. Jichunge na hii cholera outbreak. There are actually confirmed cases in 3 counties: Migori, Kisumu, and Nairobi, where Alice comes from. And Alice gives treats to quite a number of people, mutura treats. And now the Ministry of Health has reported so far 97 cases, including 6 deaths. The outbreak is linked to factors like limited access to safe water, poor hygiene, and inadequate sanitation. Now, in the office, we have a lady called Angela. Angela brings us tea and beautiful stuff. At least I know Angela does not eat mutura, but I'll find out later on if she does. Well, if you want to know the symptoms about cholera, it primarily manifests as severe watery diarrhea, often described as rice water stools, along with vomiting and leg cramps. Well, in severe cases, it leads to dehydration, kidney failure, shock, coma, and even death, if it's not treated promptly.
Across the country to ensure that we have surveillance activities which are strengthening the communities to ensure there is early detection of any form of disease. We have also had laboratory investigations enhanced so that we test all our diseases in this country and any outbreak in the country. We are scaling up our risk communication. Information and messaging should go to the people. I'm calling upon all the stakeholders, the church, the religious leaders, the donor community, the schools, Ministry of Education. The schools are opening next week. So I'm calling upon each one of them to help us with messaging and help us with risk communication that will get to the people on what to do and what not to do, and especially areas where they need to avoid instances that may lead to.
Now I know, a lot has been happening, so please take care. Make sure you wash your hands. Make sure you watch the kind of water you're drinking. Boil your water. At least for now, when you know there's an outbreak, boil the water you drink. Make sure the cups and the utensils that you use are properly sanitized. And for men, because men don't wash their hands when they come out of the toilet, osha mikono. Because it's very important, Wash your hands. Make sure you sanitize, your hands are clean, so that you don't spread it. This thing is no joke. So behave the same way we behaved during the COVID period. Sanitize, do everything you need to do. Now, you remember last weekend was Easter, sindio? Oh my Lord. There are people who, during Easter period, they decide that they are going to reenact the crucifixion of our Lord Jesus Christ. And at times they do it and it comes out awesomely. But at times it's a disaster.
¿Qué pasó?
¿Se cayó?
¿Quién?
La niña cayó. Fíjate.
¿Qué pasó?
¿Se cayó? Bájate. Saca. Se cayó. Fíjate.
¿Qué pasó?
¿Se cayó? Bájate. Saca. Se cayó. Fíjate.
¿Qué pasó?
¿Se cayó? Bájate. Saca.
Now I'm so glad that that did not happen to Christ. That Christ stayed on the cross, died for us, and resurrected, and is now seated on the right-hand side of God. So be careful. Some of these things, don't do these things at home. Constantly we are warned about that. All right. We're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, we're going to look at the newspapers so that we see. I'm seeing UDA's tax evasion. Watch out when the break. I love to Rudy. Let me give you a nugget I just listened to some few minutes ago. This was said by a gentleman, I'll remember his name, and he says that the strangest thing about faith and fear is that both demand that you believe in something that you don't see. So why would you believe in fear? Because faith tells you that something great is happening. God has made it happen. Fear demands that you believe. Let me paraphrase it. Faith demands that you believe that God has done something great for you and it's already done. Fear demands that you believe that something so bad is about to happen to you. Why would you believe in fear? Now, UDA's tax evasion standard. Let me tell you, give this newspaper the entire reign of President William Ruto, and it will be the top-selling newspaper in the country. If what they are doing is anything to go by, they'll actually be the top-selling newspaper in the country. Now, the headline says UDA's tax evasion. UDA's tax evasion. And the story is, they title it so beautiful and they put animal farm. And then they say, among the issues that continue to draw criticism of President William Ruto's administration, the burden of taxes stands out. Therefore, it comes as a great surprise when a former high-ranking official from President's party reveals that the party is involved in tax evasion, including the non-payment of the housing levy and failure to remit pay-as-you-earn taxes. Last year, these taxes sparked protests by Gen Zs to which the government responded with excessive brutality. Is the country being governed by two sets of rules, reminiscent of George Orwell's famous novel, where some animals are more equal than others? Sema kinaumana. Then back to school, financial strain casts shadow as new terms begin. Well, the schools, some of the schools, the secondary schools have started charging people fees that don't exist there. And these ones are not put on paper. You're just told, where kuja. You're also supposed to pay for, I will not name a building, a school that my daughter went to. Because when she went into Form 1, I'm coughing. That means somebody from that school is watching. So what happened is that when they got into Form 1, we were told to pay 10,000 shillings for a building that was being done. That building, already the entire structure had been done. What needed to be done is just, finishing touches, putting the walls and maybe partitioning and all that, because the frame, the structure had been done. The school is a public school. It's a national school. It has over 1,000 students, and has how many streams? Almost 4 streams in Form 1. And so every Form 1 student contributed 10,000 shillings. And later on, these contributions continued. Every time Form 1s came in, there were 10,000 shillings that was being contributed by every parent. And it was so serious that if you don't pay for it, your child is sent home. So we did that. My daughter has gone from Form 1, she's now 2nd year in the university. And tell you what, that building, haijawahi isha, sijuka ni Tower of Babel, haijawahi isha. Anyway, wacha nimalize hapo. Betting sector takes action to curb addiction. Vane. The addiction that is happening in the betting sector. And the unfortunate thing is this, you see this is being done by the media, and media houses now have become the biggest bettors. They've created platform for betting because they're interested in money. There are three stations that were started by a preacher. I will not tell you his name. And now 24/7. They're just doing betting. Just scroll through your, your digital gadget. And if the channels that you find, 3 of them being done betting 24/7, they're being run by a preacher. And one of these days I will tell you, because these guys, they stand on, some of them, this particular one, every Sunday is on the pulpit telling people about sin. And then on the other side, he's running a platform that is destroying families. Shame on you, Shindwe. UDA poll materials smuggled into country. Shivane. Malala is unleashing. Hey. UDA has ghost workers on state payroll. And this is being said by former Secretary General Malala. Hey. More parties exit Kenya Kwanza. But some of these parties that are exiting Kenya Kwanza, they are non-existent. I mean, some of them you've never even heard of them. It's just a politician who decided he's forming a party and joined so that he can get a job. And now he's lost his job. He didn't even win himself. Like, what's the Farmers' Party? Didn't even win, not even a councillor. I mean an MCA. I was not even a chief or a supervisor of the cattle dip. Nothing. But they are now making a lot of noise that they are leaving Kenya Kwanza. Some of this party is because the owner of the party was fired out Niger. So they decided, I am leaving with a party that has not supported us. State accused of shielding spy agency from public scrutiny. Hey, Mandela leo. Hey, leo nimewaka. The Standard, Sawe destroy high-class field in London as a safer breaks record. Me, I did this marathon when I was in Jamhuri High School. I was a very naughty boy. So the houses were supposed to compete against each other. So we decided, we were going to go around the field. If you know Jamhuri High School field, it's humongous field because it has, on the other side, it has a hockey pitch. Then there's a hockey pitch, there's a rugby pitch, there's a football pitch. And so we were supposed to go round. And we did. Also the teacher thought. Because our house guys went, me and a friend of mine hid in the grass. So we waited for them to go 10 rounds. And unfortunately for us, we decided to join the rest of the team when they were just about to finish. When we stood up, we found ourselves in the top 10. And so we went and finished and our names were written. Only that we had not run. And then we were told, we thought number 1 up to 3 were representing the house. Then the teacher decided it's number 1 up to 10. And we are among the 10. That day I didn't go to school. Daily Nation, 5 billion a day debt stress for Ruto. Kenya will this year pay 1.8 trillion, over half of the country's budget, to its creditors, highlighting the growing burden of debt that has spiraled to 11 trillion. With the debts maturing, a public hostile to new taxes, and a looming International Monetary Fund program, President William Ruto walks on economic tightrope that could define his presidency. And then we have the 3 presidents. Mwai Kibaki had 1.9 trillion. That was the debt. When Uhuru Kenyatta came, the debt went from 1.9 trillion to 8.6 trillion. And then Ruto is now at 11 trillion. Okay. Schools reopen as head teachers demand funds to stave off unrest. And then fate of 400 students in poorly run universities unclear. Senators demand probe into claims new teachers got recent promotions. Okay, can we just one day, can this country that claims to be 80% Christian, just one day, can we ever have a headline that does not have corruption? Just one day. One day. Siku tu moja. Hey. The first contingent of 400 officers set to return from Haiti. Then Gachagua launches, Gachagua says Ruto is launching fake projects. Police DPP accused of abusing powers in WhatsApp disputes. Hey. Family fights for 50 acres after ceding Kasarani Stadium land. Global company teams up with Kenyan. Which family is this? When Amon Matero and his wife Peris Waboi Matero bought 344 acres at Kasarani in 1954, they believed they had secured a legacy for their 6 children. Find out what happened. Z-back page of the Nation. Sawe, I train her to make winning easy. I like that. I like that. That's pretty cool. And then the Star newspaper. By the way, Alice, tell nangojea chai. Leo ni Monday, nasikia njaa. I think I ate too much yesterday. Angela. Anyway, the Star newspaper, most slum dwellers targeted relocate back to shanties. Oh, this is, by the way, this happened, this affordable housing thing. Most of the people who are in the slums, when the houses are done and they look pretty cool and, you know, they're transferred to these guys, what they do is they literally sell the houses and they go back to the shanties because they're so used to that kind of life. And at times, you know, you're telling them to pay 7,000 shillings as rent, and they can't afford it. It happened in Kibra, you know, those houses in Kibra. Kenyans to know true public debt by August. This is the first independent audit or the public debt since independence. Deputy Auditor General Isaac Kamau. Oh, they've done. Would like to know who borrowed, what it was borrowed for. Because some years back, I was speaking to a gentleman who told me that Kenya had borrowed money to extend the railway. And you know that apart from the SGR, the old railway line that was done by the Muzungus was never extended. But incidentally, in our public debt register, some president had borrowed money to extend that railway. So where did the money go to? So we may be paying, not maybe, we're actually paying monies for people who took money, loans, used the loans on their private property and private, you know, development businesses, and the Kenyan public is paying for their debt. Nyaga, man on a mission to end ghost workers menace. He coordinates the World Bank supported Kenya Devolution Support Program. Biased insurance face 5 million fine, jail or deregistration. African Union Somali mission faces 96 million shortfall. The world is getting tired of fighting these terrorists. The back page, Abuti eyes international glory after retaining national heavyweight crown. That's boxing. And then peerless Kenyans. I mean, they just dominate. This is how a guy dominated like nobody's business. And that's how we are supposed to live our lives, dominating everything that comes our way. And mostly so if you're a Christian. So, at 11:30, we are going to look at what is happening in the counties, because there are a lot of crazy stuff and beautiful things happening in the counties. By the way, during the campaigns, I looked at the Azimio manifesto. And one of the things that I prayed that President William Ruto, who I voted for, was going to just pick it, copy-paste. The Azimio had a beautiful manifesto, because in one of the aspects they had said that every county You notice every county has something special it does. If you go to Kakamega County, apart from maize, they have gold. And the gold reserves in Kakamega County are close to $1 trillion in value. If Kakamega County, or if the government was going to zero in and say, Kakamega County, you've got gold reserves, so what we are going to do, we are going to empower the county so that the gold, is harvested and people are able, a percentage, maybe 20% of the total revenue is left in that county and the rest goes to the national government. Can you imagine where Kakamega County would be today? And then you go a place like Turkana. Turkana has a water reservoir underground that can take care of this country if we don't use any other water. We don't have, we are not using the dam in Murang'a County. We are not using any of that. We're just using that money, that water. It can feed, it can water this country for the next 93 years. And that is assuming that it's not raining and so the water is not refilling itself. 93 years. There's water in Turkana. There's oil in Turkana. Nara. Then Mombasa County has an entire ocean, yet it suffers water shortage. I'm allowing you to kuachilia ufikirie hiyo. An entire ocean, yet it suffers from water shortage. You can say, oh, the ocean is salty. Oh, you can go to Singapore and see what they've done. Singapore used to import water. Now, they're using the ocean water. They purify it, they remove the salt in it, and they have they will never lack water. Anyway, acha niwachie hapo nisiwache your Monday ikuwe mzuri. If you are in an office today, look for the person who normally does your tea, treat them well, so that today they can give you tea and mandazi. Or if you carried something at home, from home, enjoy your breakfast. As I'm about to do, I've treated Angela nice. Angela does beautiful tea. Even as I'm saying this, I'm saying that so that I can get kakikombe kafit. Have yourself a lovely morning. Alice is telling me ati najitetea. Ni ukweli, si uongo. Najitetea. Ndio at least kakikombe katoke kakiwa kasawa.